Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Minka Guides. This month, we have a very special conversation as I'm here with one of my fellow co founders of ENM Fam London, which is potentially London's largest non monogamy event. And so I've got here Jax Griffith. How are you doing today, Jax?
I'm fine. Hello. I'm in the garden taking some time out and relaxing. So, how are you?
Lovely. How perfect. Oh,
Yeah,
good. It's such a beautiful day, isn't
yeah,
it?
it is indeed.
So, so Jax is a queer polyamorous person in their 50s, and they are the founder of Black Fluent Polyamory Hub, which is a digital kind of community for people of color who are polyamorous in the UK. And she is also the co-founder of Serotonin, which is a very new but very exciting regular meetup for anyone, for people of global majority who are either kinky or ethically non-monogamous. And then she's also the co-founder of ENM Fam London, which it's coming up this month is going to be a year since we ran our first event, hence why we're having this conversation. How do you feel about the last year?
It's been a total surprise. Didn't know it was going to go the way it was. You're great at telling the story. It started off with a few of us around the table at a pub thinking these apps are really boring and we got no friends and we just come out of COVID. So where we are now, I couldn't have imagined. And if someone said to
No,
me where we are now, I would have probably thought, oh my goodness, I could be doing something else. It takes up a lot of
exactly.
time, but it's the best thing that's happened for years. It really is. It's
Yeah. And I
humbling.
think that's a really, yeah, exactly. I think that's a really important place to start. If we cast our minds back to pre pandemic and think about what the non monogamy scene looked like in London, do you have any kind of particular reference points or thoughts about any of that?
I think with London, I mean, I became mindfully polyamorous about 14 years ago, and even then, I felt incredibly isolated. Um, and the COVID magnified that. And by that point, it wasn't about finding partners, but it was about finding friendships. And I was also seeing that a lot of monogamous couples, had actually really unpicked their relationship through the pandemic, and lots of places, people in the, what do we do now? One thing was the isolation and loneliness, and learning how to be social again. I
Yeah,
do recall the
absolutely.
first non-monogamy drinks, and everyone was rather nervous, and what do we do and how do we interact again? So we was in it
How do we
together.
talk to each other?
Oh yeah, how do we talk? What do we wear? And just just shut down the isolation. It'd been a few bad years.
Mm.
Uh,
But even going back to pre-pandemic, like I remember trying to find community, like a polyamorous or a non-monogamous community in London. And I'd been to, say, some drinks at a Weatherspoons on a Tuesday night that were like fine, but a bit awkward. And there was about 20 of us around the table, and it was just a bit, it was all right, but there was nothing, there was no sense of community building really happening there. And then I'd been to some play parties, but obviously the remit of those are not necessarily about forming community or building or even sharing. You can't share resources at a play party. Well, you
yeah,
can, but it's
yeah,
just like not really, that's not the remit of those kind of
yeah,
groups. So yeah, and I think also it was like in that year leading up until the pandemic that I really suddenly started to be like, oh, I need a support network. I need people who understand what I'm going through, even more so than I need good apps to find partners, you
yes,
know?
yes. All of that,
So I
all
think
of
that
that.
so I think coming out of the pandemic, that was solidifying how you and I were both feeling when we met. But I want to jump back first to the Black Fluent Polyamory Hub.
Yes.
Was that the reason that you started that to begin with, was to try and build community?
Well, many years ago, yeah, I often will say in London when I first started my journey, I did feel like the only black in the village. So how it is, where are these people? And I did go to the similar munches and gatherings that you speak of, but there was no one there that looked like me. And
Yeah.
there are different layers for the pot community in terms of returning back to non-monogamy, and that's a whole different show, podcast. Um, I came across many years an American organisation called Black and Poly, run by
Mm.
Ron and Lisa Young, very big, and I expressed my isolation, and they said to me, "Why won't you become a UK coordinator?" And I was doing that for about 3 years, and that's where I really learned what the experiences were. And I just decided to start my own Black Fluent, and take
Mm.
from what I've learned and my personal experiences and create it. And it was a very slow burner, a very slow burner. It's very different now, because people are
Yes.
much more comfortable. And in that group, we've got places to chat, talk about any issue from a Black box centered view. And it's amazing. And that's then I started trickling into the point of what happens about kink and sex for people from, who are POC. I'm demisexual, and I didn't feel there was a place for me until I met everyone
Mm.
at the ethical non-monogamy drinks. And I was speaking to people of different colours, and they wanted a kink space, and I was learning. So that's how serotonin happened. But I like to think of it as hubs that are created
Yes.
organically and by people. Um, I'm at the point now when people have an idea, I'll say, you do it, you create it, you create this community. We give you the tools, we give you the know-how, and you do it. And people are starting to do that. Um,
Which is
I
incredible.
just see myself as an enabler and coordinator. That is all. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And the way that you and I first connected was so we were both featured on an episode of Women's Hour that happened in May 2021, so last May,
yes,
May last year. And I just remember you and I just like being on that call together and seeing our energy and just like kind of clocking each other as like
yeah,
team,
yeah,
So even though we were separately talking about our own experiences on that radio feature, so it wasn't long after that that you and I met up for a drink at the Fox and Firkin, which has since become the home of the ENM Fam London,
yeah,
which is in Lewisham in London. And we sat in that beer garden, and it just felt like there was such a synchronicity between us in terms of like, where is the community? Like,
yeah,
where is it? And
yeah,
talking through our experiences of um, like you trying to run events through Black Fluent Polyamory Hub and your experiences with that, and me being like, I really feel like people should learn to find the community before they find partners to build that support network.
yes,
That should be the priority. So how do we make that happen? And
yes.
at the time, it felt like such a pie in the sky conversation, didn't it?
It was. It was. And it was quite impulsive. It was like, yeah, let's get an
Yeah.
idea. And I remember you saying, yeah, yeah, there. Where's the pub manager? Where's the pub manager? It was instant before we knew it. And then, oh my goodness. Okay, just go with the flow. You know, And Women's
But I
Hour
think
was very fun too. That was great.
yes, exactly. And it brought us together. So
Yeah.
that's
See,
that's what,
universal.
but I think it was very much like there was an energy of understanding between us. Like I don't know, we're probably maybe both bit dreamers and entrepreneurs. Like we really like to think big and make things happen. And so that's what we did. But
Yeah.
do you remember back to that conversation in terms of what we thought we would get from that first event, like kind of the turnout?
For me, the actual first turnout was a surprise. We had the
Yeah.
idea. We've ordered a few tables, and we thought we'd have a few people around. And you got everything out there on social media. It's all so clever, and we had there was just I can't. It was over 100 people turned up that first time, didn't they?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
We
think
got close to 150 almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
for me it was a few weeks after, and I thought, right, we got to think about this. And it's not only us two. We've got Erin, and we've got
Exactly.
Ada, and
Mm.
with their own special, amazing talents. Most of the time, I'm just going, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. And Erin, especially, has reminded me all the time it's about community. Very
Yes.
ethical. We created the code of conduct. Um,
Yes.
and we'll always be community. You know, lots of people have been coming up to us saying, "Oh, you could make money, do this, do that," and it's no, it's all about community and it's all about family. And the more
Yes.
that people step towards us, you know, we like to spread it all over the UK. You know, it's not
Yeah, we'd
about
love that,
just
definitely.
London, and it's just about if you've got an idea, if you don't see it there, family, what should we do? Come to us and we help each other out. It's about enabling each other out. And
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
aligns with
And
what
that
I do in my career too. You know, as a social worker, it starts
exactly.
with community and giving people the tools to make their own magic happen, and it's just
Mm,
humbling. And
absolutely. And I think you touch upon like a really good part of all of this is that we know why we do this. Do you know what I mean? And I think the why has to be something bigger than we just want to make money or we just want to throw sex parties, which at the moment we don't. That's not something that we do. Um, but that why has to be something that you can really build on, and
yes,
that's why it's so important.
yes,
But I also think that you'll touch on something else which I wanted to talk about. What is it we thought we got so right about creating this event? And I think that one of what you was talking about really touches on that specifically, which I think one of the first things we got right was that we realized that it couldn't just be you and I. We needed another person to run this with, and that other person is Missy or Erin, who is one of the other co-founders of ENM Fam London. And I think one of the brilliant things behind that was that we each bought in different communities. So you already had this established community with the Black Fluent Polyamory Hub. Erin's very active in the kink scene in London. And then I brought in all the like queer kind of, kids. Um, and by doing that, that meant that we had already had community reach within different parts of the non-monogamy and polyamory community. And then also, it brought in three different skill sets, which we identified really early was that, I was good at the pre-planning, the marketing, the putting all of that together. You two were excellent at hosting and bringing in the vibes and making sure things run really well on the night. So I think that's something we got really right.
absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, and I'm learning all the time. I'm learning all the skills all the time. The skills that I've learned from you and my colleagues, we're able to pass
Mm,
over. And another thing is, I personally have met and made friends and close connections with people from the communities that I had no way of engaging in. Even when you think about kink, and I'm on my little
yes.
explore, but
Yeah.
I've developed friends from that community that are friends, that are friends.
Yes. Yes.
Different cultures, different genders, different identities. It's just we're just on it. We're just connected. People that I wouldn't have felt in a million years I would, get to meet. And I don't think I'm the only one. And I like to think that
Mm,
the environment creates safety. We're really big on safety. We always have. We have an amazing team of volunteers, that know the
yes.
brief. We've got a code of
Mm-hmm.
conduct. And if someone's not understanding, we will compassionately explain, but be very boundaried. And a big thing's been about getting feedback after every event. We get feedback. So we're learning.
Absolutely.
We can't do everything that everyone wants. But
Yeah.
if we can, we'll try. And it's,
Mm.
the community is not community unless everyone participates.
Exactly. And I think that touches on another really good thing that we did really well from the start, which I think is that um, right, as you said, right from the start, we were mindful of the community that we wanted to build, and we wanted it to be inclusive. And so, from the language that we used to market the event, as well as the information about the event, as well as the imagery that we used when we were first
Absolutely.
marketing it,
Yes.
we were making sure that visually it said, this is an event for people who are trans or non-binary, people of color. We
Yes.
want you all to be
Yes.
here, which I
Yeah.
think sometimes with non-monogamous events, that's where they fall down, because they try and maybe make it look sexy or this or that. And we were kind of like, this almost, we're like not marketing the event for that like
No.
straight man,
Mm,
you know,
mm.
we're marketing this event for everybody else that we want to come
Yeah.
along, so they feel very seen from the start. And I think that's another reason why we were so successful from the get-go,
Yeah.
because people like immediately knew this event was for them.
Yes. And also, it was also, we've got to thank the support of the a lot of people in the community that are promoting and learning. There'll be Ruby as an example. You know, lots of supporters have
Exactly.
been sharing, spreading the word, coming,
Really
participating,
lucky.
and that's been
Yes.
absolutely lovely. And on
Yeah.
this
So
anniversary,
yeah.
we've got amazing organisations that are donating tickets, contributions, so people can,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
win prizes. We do little games. We do bingo games. So yeah, everyone's come together.
Amazing.
You know
Yeah, really
how a
nice.
family
But
should
yeah,
really.
yes, exactly, exactly. But yeah, as you were saying, so we had influences like Ruby Rare, we had big parties such as Crossbreed and other places like that, helping us by initially pushing out the message about this new event. So that was another thing I think we got really right, was getting the organizations that were relevant, or the influencers that were relevant, to spread the word. So I think that
Yeah,
was definitely it.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
another thing we got really right was the venue. Like,
Absolutely.
even
Yes,
though
yes, yes.
even though some people don't want to come to Lewisham in South London, like, the Fox and Firkin has been incredible to us.
They have. They have. And we formed a really great relationship. And I mean, for me, it was a little bit selfish because it's like everything, I'm a South Londoner and everything seems to be in the north, everything, you know. So, but it's got a lovely
Exactly.
garden and it's got a lovely vibe. And, you know, it's people do travel. People have come from out of London to
Yes.
come along. It's a wonderful place, a really good team they have there. So
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah.
Fox and Firkin. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, Fox and Firkin. They really
Love
embraced
it.
us right from the start,
Yeah,
and they've like, we never needed to hide what this event was, that
yeah,
like, to try and pretend that it was something else. Like, and yeah, now, and they were perfect because of the size of the place as well. Because now I think the mailing list for ENM Family is like getting close to 1,000.
yeah,
Like,
and about, yeah,
it's really grown. And the event now has to be ticketed, even though
yes,
the tickets are very, very cheap or free,
mm,
just because we need to cap the numbers for those
yeah.
events. So do you know what the capacity is for this 1 year anniversary?
Well, I should confirm with Ada, but I mean, potentially we can have 400 people there, but she'll kill me. So, you
Exactly.
know, and,
Yeah.
you know, she'll talk about getting more tickets in because on that day it's going to be lovely and sunny. We've got a
Yeah.
fantastic DJ that you may recognise from Pinky Promise for those that go. So it's going to be a party vibe. So yeah, the more that we can get in, we will. So more information will come up
Yeah.
in a week or two. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. But looking back a year, that's incredible to think of all of that, compared to, we were hoping to get 30 to 50 people to our
On a
first
good
event.
day.
We On a good day, yeah, we were trying, we were like, if we're being ambitious, maybe 70. And the fact that we probably doubled that number on the night was
Yeah,
overwhelming. And to be flashing forward a year
I
to
know.
now, and to be talking about getting 400 people with DJs and event like stuff
Yeah,
happening, that
bring it
is
on.
incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Is there anything that you would do differently if you were starting this again?
no,
Yeah.
absolutely no. And I say that because it's been such a flow and we've all met in interesting circumstances and how it's developed over the year has been very, very organic. And we've got
Yes.
people in the family that are creating their own little groups. There's so many groups. Check the calendar out and you see the link. There's so much going. No, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Sometimes
And
just got
as
to
you
let
say,
things
like
happen.
off the back of us creating this event and being so popular and growing our mailing list, we quickly realized that we needed to encourage other people to step forward and build their own events. And so now there's a poker night, there's a book club, there's all manner of different like climbing groups, all of this kind of stuff. So off the back of us starting this one event, we've actually enabled like a full community to spring up and grow out of that, which is really, really incredible.
Yeah.
And I think because you have so much experience on trying to grow community within like the polyamorous and
Mm,
non-monogamous
mm.
communities, do you have any recommendations that you would give to people who are watching this, who are thinking about trying to start their own groups?
Right. Well, I mean, we do have a wonderful calendar, and you can come to myself or anyone that's part of the ethical non family and just ask. Email us, give a suggestion, um, set up your own Instagram page, create your own friendship group, start up a WhatsApp group, come to the events, meet people physically, go to their events. Um, I may do go to a group. It's not really my interest, but it's just different. So come out your comfort zone. If you see a gap, stop complaining about it and create it. And there's lots of people that's got lots of ideas on how to do things. I mean, I'm not great with all this internet social media stuff. I'm learning. And there's always someone in the community. If you don't know, someone will, and you can come to us and
Yes.
ask us who could help me with this, because sometimes we have three different people coming up to us saying we've got the idea and it's the same idea. So it's, just come, engage, network, enjoy yourself, and we'll,
Absolutely.
we'll repost and we'll do as much as we can. you know that's it
Absolutely.
really.
And for if someone was watching this video and they live in another part of the world and they're thinking about starting their own kind of non-monogamy drinks or event or something like that, is there any advice that you would give them for how to set something like that up?
I would say get a team around you. If you're one person, it does help if you've got two or three around you with different skill sets, especially with one that's good with social media. If it's something like a social, be bold, go into that bar, pub, cafe, restaurant, get those tickets. And we've got a really good resource on Instagram and Facebook. Reach out to us, reach out to other organisations, work in partnership, support other people with what they're doing, and
Mm,
start small and just reassess and review and ask people, how do you do this?
exactly.
But use those tools. Instagram's great.
Yeah,
We love it.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I would definitely suggest as well, like think about what that event is for. Because I think one of the other things that we got really right with our event was to be really clear from the start that this wasn't a dating event, that
Yes.
we didn't want people coming along cruising for partners,
Yeah.
that this event was about building community, sharing resources, finding support networks. And I think that's also another reason why we were so successful so quickly with what we've done. So I think I would really encourage people thinking about setting up their own groups to think about what the purpose of that event is for. And if it's not about dating, then make that really clear
Yeah.
so that everybody who comes along feels very comfortable.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. 100%. See, that's where you thought of
Yeah.
that bit. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm just, yeah. If the group has got a good idea, go, yeah, yeah. Sometimes you just got to say, yeah.
But that's also the benefits of having a team.
Little,
All of us like have been able to like bring like perspectives and ideas and all of this to the
yeah.
pot that has really made ENM family as amazing it is. And I feel enormously grateful that we met and
Oh,
had that
sure.
conversation in the pub a year ago, or 15 months ago, so that we are here now looking back and being like, wow, this is
It's just
incredible.
been a year. It's just been a year. And, my personal journey, my influences are people that I've met has had an impact on me personally. It's just so humbling,
Yeah.
and I'm so happy, and I love my community like a fam. That it's just
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And on that note, I can't wait to be standing in a very warm beer garden, having a very cold drink with you in just very soon. It's in the next couple. By the time this comes out, it'll be in a week. So
I
yeah,
know, pink lemonade. See, I was,
you know me.
yeah,
I
favourite
may
pink
even have a
lemonade.
little gin in it this time.
You're pushing it. We're gonna
We've got
have
a
a
reason to celebrate.
we're gonna have a very special cocktail being made up for our party. So look out for it,
Oh,
folks.
wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm really
special
looking
one.
forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, Jax, what do we know what date the next event is on? Our 1 year anniversary
Yeah,
is
you're gonna
on
say everyone
Thursday.
that knows me. It's 18th, isn't it? The 18th, isn't it? I get dates every. I've got so many
I'm
things going on.
terrible. Of course, of course. Let me just check
Terrible.
that so that we're definitely, yeah. So Thursday, the 18th
It
of
is.
August
It
this
is.
year,
It is. And
just in very, very soon. And
and
I look forward to seeing you there then, Jax.
oh man, big hugs, big hugs.
And thanks for having this chat today.
It's been a total pleasure, and have a lovely one too. All
Thank
right.
you.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye.